Everyone, welcome to Nurture. So today we'll start the second part of militarism in Japan. In the earlier video, I have completed this portion. This whole portion I have completed. If you haven't checked it out, then please do watch that video first. Now I'm going to start why did Japan become a military state? So, during the 1920s, it was seen that a democratic form of governments, which were formed after the First World War in countries like Germany and Italy, failed to solve the problems and desires of the people. Now, League of Nations was formed after the First World War. We all know that, and we have studied that in class 10. But it will be very accurate to say that the League of Nations was not competent enough, since it could not dissolve the other wars that emerged after the First World War. Now, if the League of Nations was competent enough to dissolve the wars, then the Second World War would never have happened, right? But it was not that competent enough, so democratic form of governments were incompetent and incapable to dissolve the wars, which actually led to the Second World War. Now, there were a number of causes in case of Japan. What are the causes? You can expect a 8 marks question from this part. Why did Japan become a military state? So prepare it by heart and practice it several times so that it becomes very easy for you to write that question in the exam. Write the answer. I have also written here 8 marks. Here I have written it 8 marks here, so that you know that, and write it in your book as well, because there are high chances that an 8 marks question might get asked from this portion. Okay, so democracy was opposed by influential groups. From the beginning, an influential section of the society, like the army, the conservatives, did not like the democratic form of government. Of course, they would not like the democratic form of government. There are several reasons for that. Number one reason being they feel that their power is getting threatened. Now, suppose you are giving a lot of power to the people of your country, then of course you would not have that autonomous choice or the singular power of controlling the state, right? If the people have the right to vote for themselves, to know the best for themselves, you cannot shove your opinion or your thoughts onto them, right? So a lot of people, especially the army, the military forces, and the conservatives means the people who were actually having a backdated thought, who were not that communist in nature, who actually wanted the autocracy to remain, they are called the conservatives basically. Yes, so the conservatives were people who did not wanted to change, who did not wanted Japan's government to be changed, and who did not like the idea of democracy. Okay, so they were strong in the upper house of the parliament and in the privy council. So basically, the conservatives and the military forces of Japan, they held a very stronger position in the privy council. Privy council basically means the legislature and or the parliament. So they had the upper hand. That means their opinions were regarded first. On every issue, they strongly criticized the government for conciliatory attitude towards China. The army was very keen to interfere in China, which was torn by civil war to strengthen Japan's economic hold over the country. This group was strong enough to topple the government in 1927 and reverse the old policy. What happened now is that the army, they wanted to interfere in China. Okay, they basically had the idea of a war in their mind, but they did not show it to the people of Japan. They did not express it, but they had the idea of interfering in China and having China under their control. Now, what happened is China at that time was facing a civil war in the country. You will get to know about the civil war in class 12 in detail, but in short, I'm saying what happened was that there was a war between the communist and the capitalist. Okay, the left and the right. So the communists were led by Kuomintang government or something. Okay, but you don't need to know it in detail. The thing is, there was a civil war. What is a civil war? Civil war is a war between a country, within a country. Okay, not between, within. Okay, so civil war is basically the war that takes place within the country, among its own citizens, among its own people. Okay, so this was number one reason democracy was opposed. And number two is corruption among the politicians. A number of politicians were corrupted and they accepted bribes regularly from big business houses. Now, we all know that in a capitalist situation, businessmen hold the power because a lot of money that adds to the GDP of the country is actually the money from the businessmen. Okay, like in our GDP, suppose we are talking about suppose India's GDP. A lot of that GDP is actually contributed by Ratan Tata and Mukesh Ambani. These are the big businessmen, okay, and they have a hold in the economy directly or indirectly. Okay, so in a state which holds capitalist belief, it is very obvious that the big business houses will hold a lot of power. So there was corruption among the politicians. The politicians received bribes from the businessmen, and sometimes fighting broke out in the lower house for charges and counter charges of corruption. So lower house is basically in the parliament. It should have been mentioned that lower house in the parliament, but whatever. There are two houses in the parliament, the upper house and the lower house. So what happened is that fighting broke out in the lower house for the charges and counter charges of corruption. Means what happened was that one politician was charging other politician of corruption, okay, and the other politician, in order to defend himself, was counter charging that politician who charged him first. That took place and it led to a lot of problems and fighting. This system did not increase or inspire the parliamentary prestige in the eyes of the people. So this actually downgraded the parliament very much for the people, in the eyes of the people. It is to be remembered that causes one or two did not make military dictatorship inevitable, but when economic problems were added to a political cause, the situation became serious. Now, these two reasons are basically the upper layers. Okay, does not consist of the depth, and it is not the actual reason due to the military dictatorship in Japan. It was the economic problems that actually gave rise to this. So we are going to study the economic problems now. The trade boom ended. This is an economic problem, okay? So what I was saying in the last part is that Japan was facing a trade boom. Okay. Japan was exporting a lot, its economy was rising. In this part I was saying, in sorry. Yes, in this part I was saying. So what happened was that Japan was rising. Basically, it was rising. It was a very well developed economic country by that time. But now what happened is that a trade boom ended. Why? We are going to see it next. The Great Economic Crisis of 1929, remember the date that questions might get asked, especially MCQs, that when was the Great Economic Crisis of Japan? So the answer would be 1929. Please mark it down. Okay, the Great Economic Crisis of 1929 affected Japan very much as the other countries did high tariffs to protect their own products. Now, what are tariffs? Tariffs are basically the taxes which another country can impose on one country's import. Now, let me explain. Okay, so suppose I am from India and I am importing African coffee. तो कॉफ़ी एक्सपोर्ट हो रहा है अफ्रीका से, ठीक है, तो मैं इंपोर्ट कर रही हूँ और अफ्रीका एक्सपोर्ट कर रहा है कॉफ़ी. नाउ सपोज कि अफ्रीका में इकोनॉमी डाउनफॉल हो रहा है, अफ्रीका में सपोज रिसेशन चल रहा है फॉर सम रीजन, तो अभी अफ्रीका के लिए कौन सा चीज़ बेनिफिशियल रहेगा, इंपोर्ट करना या फिर एक्सपोर्ट करना? तो अफ्रीका के लिए ये बेनिफिशियल रहेगा कि वो ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा एक्सपोर्ट करे और इंपोर्ट रिड्यूस कर दे. Okay, so now what happened is that America used to import Japanese raw silk. Now we all know that in 1929 America suffered from the Great Depression. America had a great economic downfall in that year, and it lasted for many more years to come. And African economy suffered a great blow for that, okay, for the Great Depression. Now what happened is, since America was suffering economically, America would not want to import more products, because if you import, money is going out from you, like money is going out from the country. अगर आप सपोज कुछ चीज़ खरीदते हो तो पैसा आएगा या जाएगा? ऑफ कोर्स जाएगा, राइट? और अगर आप किसी चीज़ को बेच देते हो तो पैसे आपके पास आएंगे. तो यही कॉन्सेप्ट है एक्सपोर्ट और इम्पोर्ट के बीच में. इफ़ यू आर इम्पोर्टिंग समथिंग, money is going away from you. You are spending that money. So if a country is importing something, the country's money is going away. Okay, तो पैसा चला जा रहा है. And if the country is exporting something, then money is coming to that, which is economically good. So now what America did was America increased tariffs. Tariffs are basically tax that the importers have to give. Now अगर मैं कुछ चीज़ import करना चाहूँ जापान से, तो मुझको ज़्यादा टैक्स पे करनी पड़ेगी गवर्नमेंट को. तो दैट टैक्स इज ओनली कॉल्ड tariff. Okay. So basically what happened is that America reduced the import of Japanese raw silk, जो कि अमेरिका इंपोर्ट करता था पहले जापान से, वो इंपोर्ट उन्होंने बंद कर दिया. बंद तो नहीं हो सका क्योंकि सब सी इट्स नॉट इन द हैंड्स ऑफ गवर्नमेंट टू मतलब बिल्कुल बंद कर दो ट्रेड. Trading is in the hands of businessmen. Now, if you increase the taxes that the businessmen have to pay for importing goods, then automatically the import will reduce because कोई भी ज़्यादा टैक्स गवर्नमेंट को पे करना नहीं चाहेगा. Okay. So price of raw silk had fallen drastically since import बंद हो चुका था, मतलब एक्सपोर्ट जापान से एक्सपोर्ट बंद हो चुका था, तो प्राइस गिर गया सिल्क का. तो आफ्टर द वॉल स्ट्रीट क्रैश, विच इज एक्चुअली द ग्रेट डिप्रेशन, अमेरिका drastically reduced the import of raw silk. This was a great blow to the Japanese because most of the Japanese farmers depended on the production of raw silk for their livelihood. Now, why this was problematic is because the Japanese farmers, they were very much dependent in the production of raw silk. They used to produce the silk and they used to sell it in the foreign markets. So since now import from the America was reduced, the Japanese farmers had a very bad condition. Okay. The peasants and the factory workers, especially of the north, blamed the government for the distress. Of course, वो government को ही blame करेंगे. हालांकि मतलब government का इसमें कुछ ज़्यादा करने को नहीं था, मतलब they did not had that much right over the situation, but still they defamed or suppose they blamed the government for this. Okay, this was also one of the reasons why Japan became a military state. उनका भरोसा उठ गया था government से. Okay, most of the army recruits during the period were made from peasant class. The army recruits during that period came from peasant class mostly. As a result, the ordinary soldiers and the officers of the Japanese army were disgusted with the weak parliamentary government. Now, the government was very incompetent, and that is also one of the reasons the soldiers were disgusted at them. So, their temperament towards the government was not really right. As early as 1927, a large number of officers of the army were gradually attracted toward fascism. So now at that point of the time, fascism and Nazism in the West showed a very growth, very how do I say it, simultaneous growth, I would say. Means the government, although it was based on dictatorship, उनका जो मतलब फाउंडेशन था फैसिज्म एंड नाजिज्म, बोथ वर एक्चुअली बेस्ड ऑन डिक्टेटरशिप. मुसोलिनी एंड हिटलर वर द डिक्टेटर्स. बट व्हाट हैपेंड वाज द गवर्नमेंट वाज गुड. मतलब जो लोग थे उन कंट्रीज के लाइक इटली एंड जर्मनी के, उनको खाना मिल रहा था एंड दे वर हैविंग अ कंफर्टेबल लाइफ. एटलीस्ट इफ नॉट कंफर्टेबल, दे वर एटलीस्ट गेटिंग देयर फूड, डेली फूड. They were not suffering economically. So gradually the officers of the army were attracted towards the idea of fascism and wanted to capture power and introduce a strong nationalist government. Little did they know कि इसका effect, long term effect बहुत ही घटिया रहने वाला था जापान का. But they did not knew that, they were not aware of that. उनको बस अच्छा गवर्नमेंट चाहिए था, उनको बस इकोनॉमिकली ग्रोथ चाहिए था एक. दे वांटेड एम्प्लॉयमेंट एंड इसके लिए दे वर अट्रैक्टेड टुवर्ड्स फैसिज्म. बट इसका आफ्टर इफेक्ट्स बहुत बुरा होता है, and that we get to know in World War II. Okay, thus a number of patriotic societies were formed to promote the military spirit of the people. Now बहुत सारे societies and groups form हो गए थे in the country to support the military spirit. The Japanese warlords justified violence at home by following an aggressive foreign policy. तो उनको मतलब वो foreign policy के नाम को लेकर वो justify करते थे उनके violence को. Japan's Chinese trade also suffered. तो trade बहुत गिर गया था during that time. So that is also one of the reason कि economically बहुत sufferable था at that point of time. That is also one of the reasons कि Japan became a military state. The only solution was, they thought, was to follow an aggressive policy and capture Manchuria, which was rich in coal, iron, gold, and timber. तो उनको resources चाहिए थे. They were in bad need for resources, and they looked up to Manchuria, which was a state in China, which was rich in coal, iron, gold, and timber. So they knew that if they can get gold from Manchuria, they can import that gold and they can earn much revenue from that, and that would gradually increase their or improve their economy. So that was their plan basically. Question might get asked that which were the minerals or which were the resources in Manchuria that the Japanese were attracted to. So your answer would be coal, iron, gold, and timber. Situation in Manchuria. This is the fourth reason. In this situation, Japan wanted to preserve their economic advantages in Manchuria. Now, the Japanese army invaded and captured Manchuria in September 1931, a very, very important date, without any permission from the government. The army was out of control. They did not take any further permission from the government, and they directly attacked the area of Manchuria in China. The Chinese forces were easily dispersed and the whole of Manchuria was overrun. So the forces, they could not stop Japan, unfortunately, and the whole of Manchuria was overrun. Then Japan set up a puppet state in Manchuria under the name of Manchukuo. So what they did was, they captured Manchuria first, and then they changed its name and made it a puppet state which was under Japan and named it Manchukuo. Okay, this name might come, it is a very important name. Please remember that and mark it in your book. Japan also recognized Manchukuo as an independent state, but actually it became subservient to Japan. So what Japan said was that Manchukuo is an independent state. We are not capturing Manchukuo directly, but it would provide as a subservient to us. Okay. So what it said was that we are not capturing Manchukuo directly, but Manchukuo would work under us. That means we'll completely control Manchukuo economically, politically. We'll govern Manchukuo, but it would still remain an independent state. Okay. So मतलब independent state तो बस नाम का था. तो they just wanted कि Manchukuo से जो resources उन्हें मिले, वो चाइना ना यूज कर पाए और वो खुद के यूज में वो रख पाए उन resources को. That was their plan and motive. Japan also, okay, I have read this part. America strongly protested against Japan's action in Manchuria and refused to recognize Manchukuo. America, which was then a very valid power in the world, उसने इसको protest किया. Okay, they were against this whole Manchukuo situation. They said that Japan is actually attacking China and this should be stopped. And they were not in support of Japan. Okay. Manchuria's rich natural resources attracted the attention of Japan, as I have said earlier. Manchuria, though included within the Chinese Republic, enjoyed local autonomy. So, matlab, even though Manchuria was under the Chinese Republic, means it did not directly belong to Japan, it still enjoyed local autonomy. मतलब एक कंट्री में एक अलग सा स्टेट जिसका अलग लॉज होगा और जिसका अलग इकोनॉमिक वैल्यूज होंगे, वो मंचुकुओ बन गया था. ओके, एट दैट पॉइंट China now made a strong protest to the League of Nations. Of course, China would not admit it, right? China would never accept it कि उसका स्टेट है, उसका पार्ट है, उसके कंट्री का पार्ट है, तो वो क्यों किसी और कंट्री का लोग यूटिलाइज करे उसके रिसोर्सेज को. So of course they had problem with that, and that is why they made a protest to the League of Nations against Japan's attack on Manchuria. Lord Lytton, remember the name and highlight it in your book. Lord Lytton was appointed by the League to investigate the situation. तो उनको responsibility मिली कि वो इस मंचूरिया या फिर मंचुको situation को investigate करे in Manchuria and make possible recommendations for possible solution. And make recommendations for possible solutions. So he was in charge of the investigation and he was responsible for making a solution. The Lytton Commission suggested that Manchuria be made an autonomous province under Chinese suzerainty